Good evening and welcome to WBS Weekend Prime News Live. It's the 7th day of the second month of the year 2015. First, let's take a look at the headlines.
About 1 year to go, the end of the term, and we are going to be reflecting on what has been achieved.
NRM members of parliament leave for Chankwanzi caucus retreat.
We still insist that the issue of storytelling should be done.
A Choli traditional leader calls for Truth and Reconciliation Commission in northern Uganda.
So it's not a question of verifications, it's the question of lack of political will to restore Teso.
NRM and the opposition open battle for Teso ahead of the 2016 general polls. And the under-23 team boasts training ahead of the All-Africa Games. Good evening once again and welcome to WBS Weekend Prime News Live. I'm Mildred Tohaise. Members of the National Resistance Movement Parliamentary Caucus have left for Chankwanzi for a 3-day retreat aimed at reviewing the party manifesto and preparation for the 2016 general elections. The theme for this retreat is fast-tracking the implementation of the NRM manifesto. We have more in this report.
Top on agenda for the NRM Parliamentary Caucus retreat at Chankwanzi is reviewing the NRM manifesto and how it can be fast-tracked ahead of the 2016 polls to ensure the party remains in power.
We have about 1 year to go to the end of the term, and we are going to be reflecting on what has been achieved in the 4 years, what remains to be done, and what mechanisms can we put there to fast-track the implementation of the work which remains undone, because so that Ugandans can be prepared to vote NRM again when the time comes.
The people talk about constitutional electoral reforms. What are the things that we should do? We need to prioritize. Yes, we may have 100 things to do, but what are the things that we must do between now and say June or July? Certainly we have the budget, which must be concluded in a good time. So NRM must build consensus on the legislative agenda.
This to ensure that the government machinery is put in place, and it also gives it a kind of audit to find out really whether the people are satisfied with what the government of the day is doing.
The party secretary general is also expected to table the party electoral roadmap as the party primaries draw closer. The major area of contention remains the party national register and whether the party will have enough time to compile it before the September Electoral Commission deadline to parties to present flag bearers for the 2016 polls.
I to give a tentative roadmap of NRM, because we must have a register. What does she say about the NRM membership register and voters register in NRM? What is she saying about the electoral cycle within NRM, which will eventually lead us to the primaries of NRM?
There is still some panic within the ruling party. They haven't fixed all their problems, so they think they need more time to fix them, because what the president wanted, he got. So the issue of him standing has been sorted out, but he hasn't sorted out the rest of the MPs. And he has very strong fears of going into campaigns and going into elections with a divided party.
The party remains divided, and restoring unity is also likely to take center stage.
The political season we are in now is that of electioneering, because the campaign is around the corner, but I don't expect the retreat to divert from the focus on service delivery issues to electioneering and issues of politicking. Yes, the people are talking in the public, but I think what Ugandans need most are service.
To members, expectations are high as majority are planning to bounce back to their respective electoral constituencies.
Nearly every member of parliament, except those who have said publicly that they are not running, would want to concentrate on the things that will make them come back to parliament. Nearly all of those MPs have 2-3 competitors, both within NRM and outside NRM. So we cannot run away from that. And we have already started picking signals that there are people, members of parliament, who want us to discuss only the roadmap to elections. And that can take the better part of the discussion.
But to those who don't subscribe to the party, the retreat is uncalled for and will instead cost the taxpayer as well as derail parliamentary business.
My only concern is use of public resources. Mainly that's what I would worry about. But what should concern us more as the opposition is to gain more ground. While they're in Changkwanzi discussing their issues, what are we doing to gain more space in Parliament?
By press time, the embattled former Secretary General John Patrick Kamama Mbabazi had not yet reported for the retreat, and it was not clear if he will attend. Stella Nabakoza, WBS TV, Kampala.
The Acholi traditional leaders are calling for the establishment of a truth-telling commission to facilitate the reconciliation process in northern Uganda. According to the paramount chief of Acholi, David Onena Chana, establishing such a commission, just as it were in Rwanda, will help in wresting beef and hatred among the communities in this region. To Achana, if this is not forthcoming, the local government should facilitate the establishment of a storytelling institution.
Converged here are actual leaders to deliberate on a number of issues affecting the region. Guns could have gone silent for some time now, but leaders here report a lot of beef and hatred amongst families, and this, they say, requires instituting a truth-telling commission, just as it were in Rwanda. To the Acholi traditional leaders, the process of forgiveness and reconciliation is still far-fetched.
Because there are so many questions that have not been answered yet. There are people who are expecting that probably their dear ones are still alive, one amongst us, and that is why we still insist that the issue of storytelling should be done. If putting up a commission, a truth commission, is not going to come soon, but locally we want truth-telling or storytelling, so that we know exactly what happened to who did what.
The same actual leaders support the trial of the former Lord Resistance Army top commander Dominic Ongwen at the International Criminal Court, saying this will help in bringing justice to those who suffered. According to him, even if the former LRA top commander was to remain here, the people of Acholi would still demand for justice from him.
If they'd heeded to our advice earlier on, because I remember having met Dominic Ongwen before the arrest warrant was not yet unsealed, and we pleaded with them a number of times that, you know, this is the best time for you to come out and abandon rebellion. But for their own reasons, they didn't heed much to our advice.
However, His Highness is quick to add that Ongwen should be accorded a fair trial at the ICC where he was taken. Northern Uganda suffered over a 2-decade conflict by the LRA, whose attacks killed many people and displaced others.
Now, as the political waters warm up ahead of the 2016 general polls, we ask who will take Teso region. With both the opposition that has dominated the politics of the area for a long time, the ruling party claiming to be in control as well, the battle lines now appear drawn. Joseph Sabiti spoke to the political power brokers in the region about the likely outcomes of the crucial upcoming polls.
decision to take the celebrations of the 29th NRM anniversary to Soroti appeared quite symbolic, a snapshot of the importance the ruling party attaches to an area that has over the years found solace in the political opposition. To party loyalists, the ground is slowly tilting in favor of the Yellow Brigade, while the opposition insists the ruling party should expect worse humiliation.
I want to assure you that now that we are moving into elections in 2016, you will see the overwhelming vote the president will get. Why? Because of the third reason, infrastructure development.
If we had an opportunity to go back to Teso and do that election piecemeal and the votes are guarded, the story would be totally different, completely different. So in the absence of a free and fair election, and a general election at that, where each one of us is concentrating on your personal survival, where they empty all the reserves of Bank of Uganda. Do you have an idea how much money went to this? Lots of money. Do you know how many soldiers were in Teso, intimidating and beating up people? On the election day, I saw over, I think, 1,000 soldiers from the district headquarters of Serere in one line going to the police station. And then they left that police station and they changed into civilian attire and they became voters.
President, while addressing the crowd in Soroti, boasted of a number of achievements, including improving security in the area by getting rid of the LRA and the Karamojong cattle rustlers, a factor that makes him lay claim to the peace in Teso, a factor contested by the opposition.
We were able to neutralize the UPA rebels. Neutralized Goj when he came here in 2003.
We really are extremely grateful that the LRA is no longer in Teso. That the cattle rustling, the disarmament is going on, and we would like it to continue. As the people of Teso, we hope that every gun, the guns of the Karimojong, but also the guns that the government of Uganda gave to the Karimojong. Yes, they did give the Karimojong vigilantes over 5,000 guns. So government is under complete obligation to retrieve all those guns. That continues to be our demand on the table.
The issue of compensation for animals lost to the rebels and government forces over the years stands as one of the critical factors that will determine the direction of the votes, even as the president declared there were delays in the Attorney General's office.
And then I heard that my daughter Alaso was saying that she's the one who brought the line. Some of these people have no shame. So if you tell a lie, you should tell a lie which is at least reasonable. Well, I have heard that my daughter Alaso is in parliament. I have never met her. And when we were planning to take these lines where we were taking them, she was not.
Truly born again Christian. So part of my method of work is to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. So I think that because the president knows his methods of operation, which are manipulation, which are intrigue, and which are countless lies, he thinks the rest of us also should operate by telling lies. So the president should know, and he knows very well, that I never tell lies. Okay, let's get basic. That President Museveni says he has never met me. How? There was a day he was in Serera, I was even his translator. So who does he expect to dupe by saying he even doesn't know me? That is a plain little lie that everybody could see. That is never talked to me, has even had personal call to me asking me to cross to the NRM. So that we will always meet State of Nation, he meets the members of Parliament.
The infrastructure question and delivery of services over the years as well are likely to play a crucial role in determining who rules Teso politically come 2016.
The biggest thing that has happened to Teso is total peace. The Karimojong cattle rustlers have been disarmed, so they are no more, they are no longer a problem. The people of Teso have been helped by government in the course of that disarmament to return to the land they had abandoned for 55 years.
When the cows were taken, the cows were raided in 1986, between 1986 and 1990. And who raided them? The Karamojong, the UPDF. You know, the UPDF, there was an helicopter, a gunship flying over all of Teso. And wherever it went that day, the foot soldiers would come and pick the animals. So it's not a question of verifications. It's the question of lack of political will to restore Teso.
As the clock ticks closer to 2016, eyes remain on the political developments while the campaigns for the parliamentary seats are already in high gear, as many politicians battle for political relevance, hoping the wind that swept Soroti Sports Ground on the 26th of January did not sweep their footsteps along. Sabit Joseph, David Television.
You were still watching WBS Weekend Prime News Live. We now take a very short break. More stories coming up next, but first, we'll look at a reminder of our headlines. NRM members of parliament leave for Chankwanzi caucus retreat. Acholi traditional leader calls for Truth and Reconciliation Commission in northern Uganda. NRM and opposition open battle for Teso ahead of 2016.
Load the airtime knowing it's easy. You'll get it all back with Chizzy. All the airtime you spend, Chizzy. At the end of the month, Chicho, Chizzy.
1K, 2K, 5K, Chizzy. 10K, 20K, 30K. Airtime you spend is refunded. Talk and talk with Chizzy.
Chicho, Chicho, Chicho.
Uganda Telecom's got something.
Get back your airtime with Chizzy from Uganda Telecom. Dial *100#, select Chizzy and get the total amount you spend in a month refunded. This refund can be used for calls and SMSs to all networks for the next 30 days from Uganda's most affordable telecom service. Uganda Telecom. It's all about you.
WBS TV is pleased to inform our esteemed viewers that we have completed our signal upgrade. You are therefore encouraged to reset your TV and benefit from the high-definition quality signal. Keep watching WBS Television.
Welcome back. It's a great pleasure to know that you're still with us on WBS Weekend Prime News Live. Now, in more news, the African Union Mission in Somalia, AMISOM, reiterates its commitment towards supporting the political processes aimed at aiding reconciliation and preparation for the 2016 general elections. This was today reiterated during a press conference addressed by the Special Representative of the African Union Commission, Chairperson for Somalia and Head of the AMISOM, Ambassador Maman S. Sidiko in Mogadishu.
Addressing a press conference in Mogadishu on Saturday, the Special Representative of the African Union Commission Chairperson, SRCC for Somalia and Head of AMISOM Ambassador Mamam S. Sidiku listed AMISOM priorities for the year 2015. The priorities include encouraging inclusive politics, gender mainstreaming, protection of civilians, human rights and championing of joint response mechanism, which includes improved coordination with development partners. Ambassador Sidiku said discussions have been ongoing among partners, especially the government and the United Nations Assistance Mission for Somalia, on adopting a common stance on issues safety and security.
We also highlighted the need for AMISOM, UNSOM and the federal government of Somalia to improve our coordination, especially in the area of security and stabilization. In this regard, we will continue to work together to enhance our support for effective and community-based approaches to defense and security, so as not to lose the gains we made so far.
Ambassador Sidiku stressed the need to boost the capacity of the Somali National Army, saying it is key to achieving sustainable peace in the country.
We will also work together to address the urgent need to support the rebuilding of the Somali National Army through the organization and integration of local forces. We agreed to closely coordinate all our stabilization efforts for maximum effect and impact. Further to this, we believe that it is critical for us to ensure access to the required areas by securing the main supply routes.
He emphasized the need to recognize the role of women in the reconstruction of Somalia is not forgotten. Through its Gender, Child Protection and Human Rights Unit, AMISOM is to ensure awareness and gender protection of human rights across Somalia.
We will enhance our engagement with UNSOM and relevant international human rights institutions, as well as with Somali government and non-governmental organizations to ensure the protection of women and girls from all forms of violence. We will also be working to support women to increase their participation in politics, especially the constitutional review, state formation, and election process.
On the current political developments in Somalia, Ambassador Sidiku appealed to all stakeholders to ensure cabinet approval is made as soon as possible to allow for continuity of government programs. Prime Minister Omar Abdirashid Ali Shamak is expected to present his new cabinet list to the federal parliament for approval in the next few days.
Now, the Ministry of Energy is facing challenges connecting rural communities to electricity because the process is too expensive. Efforts to partner proved futile, with most rural communities too poor to pay for access to electricity, and the people have resorted to power theft, which is dangerous to human life and as well costs Umeme. The ministry has now moved to engage the World Bank to partner in ensuring complete rural electrification.
Tried road electrification for the last 10 years, but we have not moved to the speed we wanted to be. In some places, as a pilot project, to have free connection in order to increase access. I think 6 months ago I launched this program for free access. We have also tried using the Post Bank to give kind of loan for people to connect themselves to the grid and pay. But all these are slow. But theft is not very easy to fight. This is one of the ways, the technical way. But the other one is the mentality of our people. The mentality that if your neighbor steals, you are the one paying for what he is consuming.
And member states of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa have called upon member countries to ensure that the framework on land policy is expeditiously handled in order to achieve the goals set for it. This was raised during a 2-day validation conference by East Central Africa and Eastern Horn of Africa countries, where they want women to be on the forefront of matters relating to management of land here in Africa.
Management of land in most African countries has been predominantly handed to men, which to feminine activity. The 2-day validation conference for gender strategy on implementation of land policy, high on the agenda, was helping member countries to come up with the land agenda. Uganda took advantage to chair this year's conference because of its recently drafted land policy. The member countries from East Africa, Central Africa, and Eastern Horn of Africa now want women to be on the forefront on matters relating to management of land in Africa, since 80% are directly involved in utilization of land.
That we developed a strategy that is supposed to help the land policy initiative to steer the implementation process, to steer other actors in implementation. And that particular strategy has 8 resource areas. One thing we did not do well is to make sure that gender is mainstreamed.
With the support of African Union and United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the participants say since women constitute 75% of economic development, the member countries need to commit themselves on land management, especially the Africa Declaration on Land Management of 2009, which has to be enforced.
And in adopting the declaration, the member states called on the different departments that manage land to use the framework and guidelines which we developed through a consultative process in developing their land policies, obviously. So when I say the land policy initiative in the first phase was helping countries to come up with a land agenda and an instrument to support policy implementation.
The acting director land management in the Ministry of Land, Sarah Kulata Basangwa, says the ministry is in the final stages of deregistering land titles in wetlands. She says they've made consultation to have this done, cautioning all encroachers to be mindful of the law.
You may think it's different, but it's not, in the sense that you have a 70% plus a land which is managed under customary systems, just like many other countries. And within those customary systems, you have heterogeneity. It's not homogeneous as a custom. So you have different tribes or different areas that actually have nuances which are quite different from each other. And those complexities have to be reflected in the national land policy.
The member countries are expected to come up with a land agenda to ensure that all land users have equitable access to land and security.
Elsewhere in the world, a rising number of women have experienced sexual violence since the Central African Republic descended into a spiral of sectarian conflict in 2013, and many are left with lifelong trauma. But the humanitarian group Doctors Without Borders has opened centers for rape victims to give care and psychological support in several locations in the capital, Bangui. Emily has more on the effort for Voice of America News.
This young woman came in time. She was raped less than 72 hours ago, so she still has a chance to be given treatment to prevent HIV/AIDS and an unwanted pregnancy. But nurse Sylvie Gonekra says most women come much later after their assault.
For women in the Central African Republic, a rape is shameful, so they don't want to talk about it. So sometimes women are raped but don't come to the hospital. They remain in their neighborhood sad and alone. They shut themselves in.
Data on sexual violence in the CAR is scarce, while the need for help for women is great. It has been nearly 2 years since a coup sparked a bloody sectarian conflict. An interim government and international peacekeepers are working to restore some order, but violence continues. To try to begin to address the trauma, Doctors Without Borders, also known by its French acronym MSF, opened a facility in July in the capital to deal with both the medical and the psychological needs of rape victims. In the last 5 months, they have received more than 500 victims. They have since opened the second center in Bangui as a radio and poster awareness campaign reaches more people needing help. Counselors says the first step is to let people talk about their trauma, like this woman.
I think about my husband all the time. He ran away from the house as the Seleka stormed the town and killed the men. I haven't heard of him in a year. I think he's dead by now.
To reassure, to calm, and to listen. But before that can happen, psychologist Roselyne Menon says the first challenge is to help victims understand what a psychologist is in a country where this is not commonplace.
There's no training to become a psychologist here. They merely do not exist. I'm here to make them understand that there are visible wounds on the body, but also invisible ones inside the head.
Menon says she sees women of all ages, sometimes children and a few men. The victims are marginalized by the stigma of rape and they have no one to talk to. Denise, not her real name, has been coming for counseling for 2 weeks and she says it is helping.
After I was assaulted, my husband rejected me. I was totally devastated. And Rosalind gave me good advice. She said it wasn't my fault, that I didn't break my marriage promise to be faithful by being raped.
Aside from individual consultations, MSF has put in place a support group for victims to share their experiences with each other.
One of the good things about this support group is that the women, they are all victims of sexual violence, could get together and talk, and they all told me. I thought I was alone.
There are currently only 2 rape counseling centers in the country, both run by MSF in Bangui.
Now, we'll take a very short break once again. When we return, we'll be talking sports. But as we do, let's just have a reminder of our top stories. NRM MPs left for Chankwanzi caucus retreat. A Choli traditional leader calls for Truth and Reconciliation Commission in northern Uganda. NRM and opposition open battle for Teso ahead of 2016.
Do you recall the last time garbage in your neighborhood was collected? Have you ever experienced garbage spillage trails along your road? Now that will be history. Spear Motors brings you a hygienically safe and labor-efficient garbage compactor truck. Unlike ordinary garbage trucks, this garbage compactor truck completely covers the waste and carries 20 tons of garbage. There is 0% spillage and much fewer trips to the dumping site. The garbage compactor truck is a self-loader. Only 2 men are required for the whole operation. Local authorities and private garbage collectors, the garbage compactor truck is now available at Spear Motors, Nakawa.
WBS TV is pleased to inform our esteemed viewers that we have completed our signal upgrade. You are therefore encouraged to reset your TV and benefit from the high-definition quality signal. Keep watching WBS Television.
Welcome back, and a very great pleasure to know that you are still with us on WBS Weekend Prime News Live. Let's now talk sports. And as the Ugandan national under-23 team continues to take shape, head coach Milutin Mocho has trimmed the team to 54 players ahead of their tie against Mozambique, set for 20th to 22nd of February away in Maputo. Today, the team had 2 friendly games, played against URA Football Club and KCC Football Club at Mandela National Stadium, as they are set to play Kira Young tomorrow. In the first game, URA FC found hard to pick a goal-less draw from the young team, save for URA's goalkeeper, who served a last-minute penalty that had been awarded to the under-23 team. Now, the 54 players will further fight for the available 30 slots that are expected to enter camp ahead of the away trip that will be held between 20th to 22nd of February this very year. Mitchell has also organized 3 friendly matches for the team that he expects to use as a basis of naming the team. Meanwhile, URA-FC and KCC-FC have lined up a number of friendly games ahead of their CAF Champions League ties against Cosmos of Cameroon and El Gecko of Madagascar, respectively. Now, both teams will have the first leg games played at Nambola Stadium on 13th to 14th of February 2015. And to motocross, in one of the 2015 safety plans, Local Motorsport body FMU is planning to run 50% of each rally organized this year on closed routes. Speaking at the General Assembly held today, FMU Technical Committee disclosed to member clubs plans of running rallies in gazette areas like forests and farms, and land has already been secured for this cause.
This was the General Assembly that accepted the lift of the 2-year term of office to a 4-year term limit, which will start with the 2016 elective assembly. This will level fit with the operations of world bodies, FIA and FIM. According to FMU's Vice President Administration, Dolph Manoki, they are out to execute a number of projects before their term of office ends.
We are coming up with very many other projects that are going to be very, very beneficial to motorsport. For example, we have seen in the media, we have had issues to do with the rally cars killing many of our fans and this is something that we would not want to see happening again.
Okay, explained that. Starting with the Mbarara Rally, they outrun 50% of the rally routes off public roads in a bid to tighten grips on safety. The Federation is in plan of running most rallies in gazette areas like forest and farms.
We are welcoming new drivers, but we have proposed a law that any new driver to come in, at least you should start with a smaller car, probably a two-wheel drive car, so that you keep graduating to a certain level. Because if you come with a higher car, no matter the finances, at this level of post-sponsorship, we have seen a lot of dropouts of many rally drivers. So we would like to encourage them to come up and start with that. That is in the main event.
For vans abusing public road usage with their powerful cars, the Federation is planning to organize a drift event for them where they will showcase their skills.
So especially the Subaru people who have their own Subaru crabs, please stop racing on the roads. We have also catered for you, and we are going to create, this is something that we're going to start this year called drifting. Drifting is where we'll be going to certain designated areas, you test out your cars, you drive by yourself, and it's going to be just minimum requirements. So we can say you have a helmet and probably you have one single roll cage going across, so that we are able to harvest. And we know that when we harvest these people, you are also going to be the people to feed the main rally group.
The same assembly commissioned 2 other commissions that include the Youth and the Women Commissions, joined the earlier 7 that were commissioned late last year. There has also been formation of a media committee, which will operate under the main executive. The first event on the calendar, the Mbarara Rally, gets underway on the 28th to 1st March 2015 and will run in the districts of Masaka, Kihura, Mbarara and others. Frank Sirugo, WSTV, Lugogo.
Still in sports, as fans across Africa wait with bated breath for the penultimate match of the Africa Cup of Nations on February 7th, 2015. Somalia's top football clubs are now looking around the continent for players and coaches that could help revamp its homegrown leagues. It's the first match of the new season in Somalia's Nation League Telecom Championship. Fans, players and officials alike have been waiting for the hotly contested Premier League to kick off so that its 10 clubs can vie for the year's worth of bragging rights and sponsorship deals.
People, they are thinking is a war country. They are thinking there is no stability. They are thinking there is no and good government like that. That's what they think. But that's not position for the political side. But my position, Somalia, there is something beautiful as you have seen now. Please come enjoy with us. Encourage the young players and the young generation.
I believe the outside world will also see that Somalia is a safe place to play football. It's a safe place to also do business, and a safe place to all that come for tourism. So yes, it's a good thing to be here. Yeah, it's a good thing to be here, and I also want other people out there to know that Somalia is a safe place. They can come and improve the football. Yeah, it's still growing. But the more people come, the more they get to understand that football is something that brings people together. Things will change and their football will go higher by the day.
And that was sports news. We take a break. When we return, it will be a wrap-up of tonight's news.
My name is Musa, your travel agent. I'm taking you around Africa, our motherland, a land gifted with beauty that flows right from Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Our first destination will be Rwanda, a land of hills and beautiful ladies. Then Tanzania, the home to the great Kilimanjaro mountain. And Kenya, the Masai Mara home. If I may ask, anyone with more exciting sights?
Mofitable jelly and Mofitable soap.
That shows her love for quality African-made products. In fact, I move with Movit Herbal Jelly too.
My friends and I at Campus all use Movit Herbal products. As in, I even carried mine.
To have a good service, I first bathe with Movit Herbal soap.
You see, I gave the right answer. Even at home, we use Movit Herbal Gel and Movit Herbal soap. Me too.
Movit. All day confidence.
News Summary is brought to you by
Everybody use Movit Herbal Jelly. Movit is amazing. Bring moms and Movit Herbal Jelly. Movit is the best. Movit, all the confidence.
NRM members of parliament leave for Changkwanzi caucus retreat. A Choli traditional leader calls for Truth and Reconciliation Commission in northern Uganda. The NRM and opposition battle for Teso ahead of the 2016 polls. AMISOM pledges efforts to support Somalia politically. Ministry of Energy partners with World Bank to increase rural electricity coverage. And the Under-23 team boasts training ahead of the All-Africa Games.
News Summary is brought to you by
Everybody use Movit Herbal Jelly. Movit is amazing. Bring moms and Movit Herbal Jelly. Movit is the best. Movit, all the confidence.
Thank you very much for watching WBS Weekend Prime News Live. Now, for details of these and much more stories, you can visit our website on www.wbs.ug. And remember, you can as well always watch our bulletins live. Just go to our website, www.wbs.ug, and click the live stream button, and you'll be able to view wherever you are. I'm Mildred Tohai, so thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely night, and may God bless you.
Up next on WBS TV. Up next on WBS TV.
Stop chasing bonuses that don't last. Bonga Forever Ever from Uganda Telecom never expires and gives you up to 100% guaranteed bonus every time you load airtime. Simply dial *100#, select Bonga Forever Ever, and talk and text all networks with the bonus that lasts. Get Bonga Forever Ever from Uganda Telecom.
Uganda Telecom, Uganda's most affordable telecom service.
It was written in the stars.
February is here, and Maisha Magic is spicing up your Valentines with romance, love,
I love you very much,
bliss, and moments to treasure forever. Valentine movies you don't want to miss.
Listen. Ambition runs deep in all of us.